Hi everyone, Keith Arkberg Farms. It's now the first week of March, and today I want to take you around real quick and show you what we've got growing on the farm. So let me show you. Now it's starting to get a little bit dark out here, so we're going to try to make this pretty quick. Right now we're just getting the season going, getting everything started, getting our transplants started. We got a round down there I'll show you, and getting some direct seeding going. We're actually about 45 days away from our first farmers market. We still have online sales, but not enough to really start cranking out the produce. So right now we're still planting relatively short beds. You can kind of see behind me here. So I've been planting out about 5 to 10 feet of bed at a time. So we got radishes here that are actually starting to come up pretty good. I'll turn you around and walk you around and show you everything. Now the radishes are just starting to pop up, start going good. You can see they're just beginning to make little radishes on them. There's actually a mix of quite a few different radishes. Again, we don't have a large bed planted. Coming down here to our direct seeded lettuce. It's starting to push pretty good. We got our brassica mix. It always does really good this time of year when it's nice and cool out. That's red mustard, green mustard, and then red Russian kale. Come down next is our direct seeded spinach that we planted about 4 weeks ago, if I remember right. We do have some aphids starting to come in here, but not a huge problem yet. We still do have nice spinach going here. I'm not sure why these two inside beds aren't doing worth a darn, but the outside two are actually still doing really good. Both sides of this tunnel we've got direct seeded beets that were overwintered. They're in there. There's a little bit of weed pressure in there. We've been trying to work on that slowly but steadily. Same thing over here. We've got carrots direct seeded back in October. Those are doing nicely. And here's a planting from about a week ago. These are arugula, and then we've got more direct seeded lettuce. Getting pretty good germination on it. I'm rather happy with it. It's coming in nicely. And we got our next bed of radishes here. This will most likely be the first crop we sell at the farmer's market in about 45 days. The days of maturity this time of year are super slow compared to the rest of the season. Then we'll come down, and this is what we've been working on this week. Our first beds of leaf lettuce transplanted in. This was actually planted in trays February 1st and then brought out here in the field. It's been under lights the whole time, so I'm going to keep it covered with row cover for probably a good 2 weeks. Really give it a chance to kind of adapt to this outdoor environment. It lived in such a nice sheltered environment for such a long time. To bring it outside and put it through the hot and cold and the sun and everything else can really shock it. And you can just see here's one right here that's not looking very happy, but the inside's still doing good, so it should kick up. Another great thing about keeping the cover on it is the aphids that are actually spawning inside this tunnel will not be able to reach it. Now we're over here in tunnel 4B. These are all crops that were actually overwintered. We've got garlic in the front, onions down there. This is all gone. Got some kale I'll show you, and these weird little kaleette things that I tried growing, but nobody's really wanting to buy them. And then onions down the side there, and then down at the end, that is the last of the Brussels sprouts. Got a good harvest off those about 2 weeks ago. I'll turn you around and show you. And don't forget, head over to arkbergfarms.com, scroll down the bottom, digital tools and training. It's a bunch of cool stuff there. So we've got our site openers, spreadsheets, Martin Garden Farm School. Go check it out. It's a great way to help support the content we create and keep this great stuff coming out to you. Garlic's really starting to grow in nicely. I believe all of these are hard necks. Some bigger, some smaller. Well, no, actually these are soft necks because I see right here that shows me, because you'll get multiple that pop up because they're such smaller bulbs and you don't always see distinguishing look in between them. And these are my hard necks here. These are all, I believe, German red, if I remember right. I've been sizing these up and saving the stock for a couple years. So we're starting to get really, really nice garlic bulbs off of those. We've got our kale that was overwintered, which is still producing nicely. Under here, I keep it covered because it gets really tender this time of year, and when it freezes, because it's so warm in the tunnel, we get a little bit of damage right on the top. It'll start to bolt here in about another month, but I can keep harvesting on it. Then we have our forum onion sets over here, which is the first time I've ever grown them. I don't know if they're supposed to be browning on the tips, but what I do know is that they're starting to actually bulb up just a little bit. We got a little bit of swelling down at the base of them, which is really, really nice because we've got a real nice long bed here. I think I planted close to 1,000 of them. Now I went through and harvested the Brussels sprouts rather heavily, and they are actually starting to size up on the top now because of it. That's real nice. Should be able to get in here and harvest these this week. That'll be great. There's only a few left. We probably got 6 or 8 bags left, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing because they were all smaller than this last week when I harvested, and now we're up to like almost golf ball size everywhere. That is awesome. Now we'll go outside and I'll show you what we've been doing out there. And the transplant room is really starting to fill up. It's really hard to see stuff in here because of the light, but we've got a good amount of production in here. Tomatoes and peppers should be popping up tomorrow. It's all going really good. Can't wait to actually get it outside because in another couple weeks this whole thing will be filled. Out in the fields we haven't done much. I did my initial turn to kind of knock down the overwinter weed pressure that was out here. Tunnel's still empty, so we're getting all that ready to go. I did get all of this prepped with the plastic mulch layer. I finally got it tuned in on those 2 beds right there after working on it this winter. Those 2 beds took me about 15 minutes. Those 5 beds took me about 4 hours. So if you ever use a plastic mulch layer, especially one that you're modifying that should be on a BCS tractor, and you put it on the back of an actual tractor with a 3-point hitch, you've got some challenges ahead of you. The one thing I am not happy with at all out here is, you'll be able to see it here in a second, the deer like to use this as a dance floor, and they poked holes all over the darn place. One thing I forgot to do this year, typically when I get plastic mulch out early, I'll go down there, use post, and I'll stretch a monofilament fishing line at about the top of the post, which is about 4 feet, and then their piece down lower. Their eyesight is rather poor, and the theory is that they kind of brush into it. They don't know what's going on, so they kind of avoid the area. All I know is that it keeps them out, but it won't keep them out if there's something in there they want to eat. Now I've got one more thing I want to show you up by the house where I think I did the right thing. I'm not 100% certain. So we'll go check that out. So this is what I did earlier this week. First thing I did is came in and tried to put some grafts on it. Looks like they might maybe be taking. The buds are still swelling on the scions I grafted on, so hopefully that's cool. But this peach tree has been here since I built the house back in 2015. Never really did much with it. I've never really got much fruit off it ever. But last year we got a bumper crop. But the problem was, it was as tall as the top of the house. So I went in and trimmed it. Not sure if I trimmed it the way I should have trimmed it, because I kind of butchered it. So from here, it was clear like up here, and that's where like 90% of the growth was and the fruiting wood. But I don't want to harvest that all the way up there. I had to get a pole and ladder and jiggle them down. Not cool. Little tiny peaches. So I tried to brush up on YouTube. As always, there's a lot of bad information out there, and the really good ones don't tell you enough to actually know what you're doing. Probably should have did this over like a 2-year period, but hey, I don't know. We'll see. We'll come back out and visit here later this season and see if I did good or not. I have no clue. All I know, so there's a lot less peach tree there, so I hope it survives. It seemed to have made it this far. So, like I said, it's going to be a quick one this week. Got things to do, place to go, and it's getting dark out here. So, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, ArkenbergFarms.com, digital tools and training, Martin Garden Farm School. Go check it out. Lots of cool stuff there. And thank y'all. Have a good day. And there's all that's left of the poor peach tree. Let me know if I did any good or not.